guessing what this is.
Ratatouille! Oh, what did we make it today? Ratatouille. A movie I watched multiple times as a kid and still can't spell it without autocorrect. I loved this movie as a kid, and I still love it to this day. It's a Disney Pixar classic, but did you know that there was also a game that came out with the movie in 2007? And when I was a kid and used to play these kind of games, I just thought it was like a one-for-one experience, like the movie and the game were just the exact same thing. Like they just made the game into the movie and it would just be exactly the same and just be me playing the movie, but it's never like that. And this led me to get some pretty terrible games as a kid. But was the Ratatouille game terrible? Or was it cooking? So before we get into the game, let's do a quick rundown of the movie. So spoilers for this over 16-year-old movie. Ratatouille is an animated Disney Pixar film released in 2007, directed by Brad Bird and starring the voice of Patton Oswalt, who plays the main character Remy. It takes place in France, and the title is also a French dish I never heard of until this movie. The movie follows Remy, a rat who has a good taste for food and can see the ghost of his favorite chef. He finds himself piloting a human, Linguini, who is the son of the ghost chef, like a mech, to make food because Linguini sucks at it, and he uses his skills to preserve the ghost chef Gusteau's legacy. That's a pretty basic rundown of the movie. Some other things to mention: there's Remy's rat family who doesn't give a shit about cooking and just wants to steal food and use his sense of smell to spot poison. And then there's the antagonist of the movie, Skinner, who doesn't want Linguini to take up his father's role as owner of the restaurant and is also trying to get the rat, Remy, out of the kitchen. I'll probably give more details about the story as we go through the game, but that's just enough to get us going for now. The Ratatouille game was a platforming game developed by Heavy Iron Studios and was released in 2007 along with the movie, and actually has the same voices as the movie, which is very surprising for games like this. When you work on a game at the same time as a movie, sometimes the movie team makes big changes that the video game didn't plan for, or the movie team doesn't give the video game team the entire story. There's a lot of things that can lead to the movie and game being completely different. But with this game, it leaves out a lot of stuff from the movie and just quickly references it. Which made sense to me since I've seen this movie, but to the kids who played this the 2 days it came out before the movie release, they just got stuff spoiled in like a weird way. They also added a few new characters to the game that weren't in the movie. It was released on all these consoles, and some of them have only minor differences while some of them are completely different games. The one I used to play was for the original Xbox, but the disc is completely scratched to shit, so I had to play it on the GameCube, which actually is the worst version graphically, but I didn't notice. I thought it had pretty decent graphics for a GameCube game. The game starts off with Remy sniffing food to check for rat poison, but they don't mention that in the game, only the movie. His brother Emile and their father Django show up, and Django tasks them with collecting apple cores around this old lady's cottage. This whole cottage level is the tutorial for the game. You start with learning the basic platforming controls, and let me tell you, these are some pretty solid controls. The movement feels very smooth, especially the running. You can sprint around and drift, which is a lot of fun. The jump and double jump feel very nice. The only thing that took a little bit to get used to was to interact with an object you can jump on, you press B, which can break up the fluidity of platforming a bit, but it was such a small thing to get used to for some pretty solid controls. The tutorial teaches you how to move cans to get onto higher surfaces, how to pick up spoons to fight enemies, how to smell to find the objective and collectibles and unlock new content, how to whip a can through the water, and the worst, the stealth. They added a Metal Gear Solid ass, you hide in a box to sneak past these animals, and if you fully alert them, they just attack you. But there isn't any stealth with this at all. It only slows down the gameplay. You just hop in a box and move slowly towards the animal and let the alert meter go down. The stealth only makes sense later when there's humans walking around the kitchen you gotta dodge, which makes sense, and the humans actually move around and you can sneak around them opposed to just walking straight towards a fucking chicken in a watchtower. So, ending the tutorial has Remy stealing a cookbook from the old lady's cottage and the old lady being alerted to all the rats stealing her shit, and she just starts unloading shots at the rats. This happens in the movie too, which isn't the only gun in the movie. I was surprised they even have guns in France. After escaping the Gaudreau grandma, you wash up in the sewers of Paris, which becomes a hub world for the rest of the levels in the game. Remy finds his way, guided by the ghost of Gusteau, to Gusteau's restaurant, where he whips up some good soup with this cooking minigame that feels like it's from Cooking Mama.
Wow, even better than Mama.
You then get the hell out of the kitchen and slide through some pipes back down to the sewers. This is the formula for every level. You platform a bit, do some minigames, run from humans, and slide back down to the sewers. But this formula adds more challenging platforming, new enemies, a variety of minigames, and longer slides down the sewer. Some of the sewer slide levels are so fucking fast, they feel like an F-Zero GX level. But I think these all make the game stay fresh and fun. There are only two things I didn't like. One which I already mentioned, which is the stealth involving these watchtowers. And two is the bonus levels. You can find nice plates of food hidden along the levels that transport you to a bonus level that is all platforming and is so slow and boring. I never did another one after the first one. I was so sick of waiting for these kiwi slices to move around, it just pissed me off. Now going back to the story, which splits off a lot from the movie. Instead of our Remy being caught by Linguini and becoming best cooking pals, Remy in the game meets back up with his family of rats to help them steal food from the restaurant. Which does happen at one point in the movie, but there's a lot of build up to it and leads to a hard decision of family and his passion at cooking. But in this game he just finds a balance of stealing food and also fulfilling his passion for cooking. The game also introduces two characters to the family of rats, Celine and Twitch. So Remy and his rat gang plan to make their entrance into the restaurant by luring Linguini outside, which involves some platforming to collect some items and then some minigames. The minigames are so fun. In this one you short an electrical box by pressing the buttons really quick, and then you use the buff rat to pull this bucket of food down in a Mario Golf-like system, which I killed it because I fucking love Mario Golf Toadstool Tour. And then you finally navigate your rats with the food safely away. And this minigame is so easy, you just gotta be super fast with the correct buttons. But after guiding his homies out, Remy gets spotted by Linguini and starts running away, but doesn't get away. Linguini's like, oh shit, you're that rat that was cooking. Then Linguini starts letting Remy hop up in his hat and start cooking up some good shit. The next level has you help your rat family to steal food around the kitchen while dodging humans, and then helping Linguini with cooking when he needs help. And when he needs help, it really just turns into a Cooking Mama minigame. And some of them are actually pretty fun. Especially like the potato one, because I just love to mash the A button a lot. After then helping Linguini and helping your rat fam steal food, you make your escape back to the sewers where Remy finds himself in a French street market up next. Which I don't know how they make it there because it's not in the movie, but they're just there to steal food. This just has you platform around helping prepare a big food heist, which ends in some minigames and a chase back to the sewer. I know I'm skipping through these story beats pretty fast, but there isn't much to the story of this game. It's a lot of solid platforming and fun minigames. I had fun with everything in this game, except for those stupid animal watchtowers. The next level is the last, and there isn't much story to it because they quickly skip so much of it. You really just had to have watched the movie by this point in the game to really know what's happening, because you just roll up to the kitchen and they're like, food critic is on his way, Linguini's fucked because all the cooks left because he exposed his secret rat buddy. A little editor's note here, I actually gave the story too much credit. They don't even mention the critic or the fact that the other chefs even know his big secret that he's using a rat to cook, so I kind of fucked up here. All this happens in the movie and it makes sense because they gradually build up to this moment. But in the game, it's done with a quick dialogue between characters. Now after the regular schmegula formula of platforming, cooking minigames, that ends in a chase scene that has Remy and Skinner just absolutely destroying the restaurant and closing it down permanently. And then they just start a new rat-run restaurant, which kind of happens in the movie, but what the fuck? They skipped over the food critic stuff where he cries over how good the Ratatouille is, and they don't even make fucking Ratatouille. It's the name of the goddamn game. Well, they fucked up the story, but it's still beyond a solid game for me, despite that. Even after beating the game, they allow you to go back and replay levels to get all the collectibles, which can be used to unlock more difficulties and even multiplayer minigames, which actually use motion controls if you played this on the Wii version. And speaking of other versions of this game, the Xbox, Xbox 360, PS2, PS3, GameCube, Wii, PC, and Mac all got the same game, just ported with pretty minor differences. Another editor's note here, I kind of fucked up a second time. I didn't realize that the Xbox 360 and PS3 versions are actually complete remasters of this game. It's like a HD, all new levels, all totally remade with better graphics, but still follows the story of Ratatouille. While all the handhelds got radically different games. The Game Boy Advance and DS versions are both platforming games with cooking minigames mixed in that follow the story of the movie, while the PSP version is a completely different game that is a sequel that takes place after Linguini and Remy start their own restaurant. This PSP version requires a whole video on its own, I think. The Ratatouille sequel no one knows about. So to answer my question, was the Ratatouille game cooking? Yes. It was fucking cooking. That rat knows how to goddamn cook. The game in no way lives up to the amazing story that the movie builds, but it builds its own identity of a fun platforming game, with amazing controls and fun mini-games that keep every level fresh and exciting. This game didn't get great reviews when it launched, and I'm a 25-year-old making a YouTube video about a game I played when I was 8, so I think my word holds a way more weight than any reviewer, so I'm giving this a 10 out of 10 Rackacoonies.
Family, culinarily. Now we're cooking.
Oh,
While nobody's looking.
I don't know what I'd do without you.
Yeah.